Welcome to Movie World, the place where we only talk movies. I'm Andy Signor, and I'm here to review A Quiet Place Part 2, which opened in theaters today. It actually opened last night. I saw it last night. So happy to review it for you here. Before I get to my review, which I'm going to be very careful of, no spoilers here, I want to go back to A Quiet Place 1. If you haven't seen A Quiet Place 1, what are you doing? A Quiet Place 1 was great. What a surprise smash from John Krasinski. Jim from The Office came out of nowhere to surprise us all with a really suspenseful, clever, well-shot horror thriller, starring his wife, Emily Blunt. It was just a surprise out the gate, and I was a massive fan. In fact, I rewatched it recently at home. Holds up. Had a blast watching it again. And so I was ready and willing, just very excited to come in and see part 2. The way part 1 ends is a little bit of a cliffhanger. Well, now what? At the same time, ends in a place where it's like, all right, well, we didn't need to go back to this world, but I'm glad we got to go back to this world. Quiet Place Part 2 picks up immediately where we left off. However, they do something very clever. They do something clever, which they've shown in the trailer, so I'm not going to spoil anything beyond what you've seen in the trailer already, and then I'll stop on my spoilers. But they did something really clever by bringing back John Krasinski. They go back and decide to show you day 1 of the invasion. Or whatever this is. I don't. Again, it's a little unclear but the first time we get to see these monsters and the people in this town reacting to said monsters, it was a very clever, smart choice from Mr. Krasinski's part to start us there, because it gives us a nice refresher about about the series and what's going on in this world, and it gets you a chance to see him in the movie again, and set the tone for what's in store and give us a nice big action sequence in the beginning. I'm assuming you've seen that scene in the trailer with the bus. It's a great moment. Really well done. That whole opening sequence with John Krasinski and where we get to see sort of day 1, I could have watched that even longer, to be perfectly honest. So I thought, really clever choice for him. As soon as that happens, they do a really beautiful transition to then get us into where we left off. And it starts with part 2. And so the family is back and with baby in tow. And they are deciding to leave the farm and search for others is really what they decide to do. And I don't want to get too much more into detail, but they're now a little wiser, a little stronger. They're able to sort of, they have some things. It's hard to, assuming you guys watched part 1, but they're armed with some things now that they can use and do, and to try to sort of continue in the world. But that doesn't make these, the world any easier, right? It's still big threats out there, and the film sets up some really tense sequences. Look, the first movie kind of annoyed me because the daughter, so annoying to me, and even in the replay I kept going, God, this daughter is so frustrating. But it's kind of a realistic, some kids at that age are going through things. She's frustrated given the loss at the beginning of the film, etc., the blame, all that stuff. And so the first one, I was sort of always annoyed by the kids. In this film, the kids still start a little bit annoying, but what I really appreciate about the film is it's not just a showpiece for Emily Blunt, who is still great in the film. They really do figure out a way to give the kids something to do. They give them moments and chances to shine, and I appreciated that about the film. Again, I don't want to get into too much spoilers, but again, I wanted to point out Eric Davis's quote. He's right from Fandango. This is the experience theaters were made for. Such a true statement and such a good experience to be able to watch this with a community, with the people who are all on the edge of their seat, watching the story unfold, the stumbles along the way, the worries. Will they meet up with people? Are those people safe? Are they not? All of that sort of just tension is just really taut and fun. There were moments in the film I turned to my lady and was just like, oh God, what? But in the funnest of ways, you're like, oh, don't go in there type of moments. But at the end of the day, all pay off and all worth it, and all just give you that ride of just like, where you're finally like, okay, yeah, that was fun. That was a fun ride, is what they do. Not always an easy ride, but a fun ride, and I appreciate that they went there with this. The film sets up a bunch of a few set pieces, and ultimately there's a sort of end of Act 2 moment where a lot of sort of the stories that they've walked to all sort of collide in one place. That again, it's one of those movies you're going to be like, and then it all just you're like, it's the best reviews. Those sound effects, I think, sum up the film. Now, the film does also star Cillian, Cillian Murphy from he was Scarecrow, Batman Begins. So many wonderful films. He is a wonderful addition to this movie. Again, I don't want to say too much about him. You'll figure it out throughout the film. Is he good? Is he bad? Can he be trusted? Is he evil? All those things are answered and figured out as you watch the film. But I will say, I really enjoyed his addition to the cast. Wonderful performance. Again, no spoilers here, but there's just a lot of, you could just see a lot of thinking and stuff going along with him throughout the film that it's just a good performance. I thought he did a really good job in the film. There are some other actors in the film, I will say, without getting into too much. The other one they've sort of shown around, Djimon Hounsou, is in the film. Also nice to see him. I've always been a fan of him. He does a good job as well. But again, I'm being vague on purpose because I don't want you to know what's going on. I kind of enjoyed the trailer. Sort of makes you wonder. It's like, is this a Walking Dead scenario where she's being tortured or beaten by these people, or are they helping her? You don't really know, and that's kind of the fun of the movie, is that you don't know who's going to help and who's not, and who's going to betray, or all these things sort of create more of the tension of what's going to happen in the film. So I don't want to parlay too much about these new characters, just that I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the kids who were annoying in the first movie stepped up in this one, added some more, they gave them some moments that I think, bravo. That was clearly a challenge that I think they succeeded at, of like, all right, some people may be annoyed by the kids, let's give them something to do. The only thing I will say is that the baby, adding babies to things is always a little bit frustrating. Just like, why? That makes it so much harder. And it adds so much more tension at moments. And why isn't the baby always crying? The baby does cry, but they create a little sort of block with oxygen to keep it quiet. Soundproof box. But even said, my frustration of babies in a movie, I feel like they were very careful in not overdoing it and putting the baby in situations that, okay, all right, fine. There's a couple like ridiculous moments. You're like, what? But I had so much fun with it that I completely let it go. So overall, yeah, I got to say, Quiet Place 2, so fun to watch. I would see more in this universe. I'll say that. I would see more in this universe. I think could be more stories to tell, whether it's them or other perspectives of others. All I will say is this is the beginning, I think, of a franchise that well-deserved, well-earned. It's just a fun, edge of your seat thriller. If you like the first one, I think you will definitely enjoy this one as well. It's going to open up the world a bit and show you a little bit more while still following the people you know. So definitely check this out and support your local theater. Buy the popcorn if you can. They're all struggling to try and keep it going, and I can tell you, it's so worth it. It was so nice to get out of the house, stare at that screen, have some other people all make the same reactions as we did. So please go support your local cinema. Also support this channel if you can for more reviews and breakdowns and best movies ever. Hit that subscribe, hit the bell, smash that like button, and leave a comment down below. Did you see the film already? What did you think? I want to hear all your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on Movie World, the place where we only talk movies. No drama, just movies.